All right, what's going on, folks? Well, today is an absolutely gorgeous day here in Franklin, Tennessee. It is perfectly blue skies. So we're going to do our first real fertilizing for the spring season. But before I do that, I need to turn on my sprinklers. And the reason why is because we have a bit of a dry trend here in Tennessee. And when I put down this fertilizer, I want to be able to water it in. And since we don't have any rain coming, I've got to make sure that I turn on the sprinklers. So walk you through that real quick, and then we'll talk about what I'm putting down from a fertilizer standpoint. So let's start with our Backflow Manifold. So the Backflow Valve is basically what prevents any water from contaminating your water system. So our feed is coming from this side right here, and we'll have to turn it on down at the curb right down there. Before we do that, we need to make sure that everything is nice and tight down here. So we've left this loose and that loose. We're just going to hand tighten both of those. And then we've got a couple of little valves here that we need to go ahead and close off so that we don't have any water coming out of this. And then we will turn on the water. So first things first, let's shut off this valve completely and shut off this valve completely. Then I'm going to take my screwdriver here and we are going to close that. So flat is closed. Close that one. Close that one. And then close this one here. And then we want to hand tighten these guys here. Actually, I think that was the only one that was not tight. So we'll go ahead and tighten that one. So the one thing I'm concerned with whenever I'm going to turn on the water source to this whole thing is this line right here, which is coming from the main water source. We did not blow out the line that kind of runs underground all the way out to the main valve. And the reason why is because I don't have a valve. I'm going to have to put one of those in this year just because it makes me nervous. Last year with my other house, that was such a crappy backflow valve. I had issues with it every single year. I'm hoping this one's a little bit better, but we'll find out here in about 2 seconds when I turn on the water. So the main valve is right here in the front. And all we're gonna do is open this guy up. And we are going to, let me put this down here for my knee, my good knee. And we are going to slowly, if we can, usually this thing just kind of pops. I didn't turn it all the way on because I want to make sure that we don't have any issues. So let's go back. I don't see any leaks. I don't see any water. This right here is my master valve, which basically prevents anything from getting into my system or backing into our system. So you can take a look in there. I don't see any water down there. So let's go ahead and leave that off. All right, so we're going to start the Ratio app. We are going to do a quick run and pick zone 2, hit it for about 3 minutes, and hit run. Let's turn this valve on. And that's what I was afraid of. So we have to go in. We never tighten these up. So let me go get a wrench. We had actually loosened all of these bolts because we wanted to make sure in case there was water that we weren't going to have some sort of a blowout. So let me go get a wrench and we'll get this all tightened up and we can turn it back on. You don't want to over tighten. There is a gasket right there, so we don't want to break that gasket. You just want to make sure that it's like a little bit tight. I think that's pretty snug there. You can get that the way here. Okay, system is full. That is normal right there. That little bit of water is normal. It will stop here in a little bit. And the reason why is because there is a little bit of a valve here that is a preventer to keep it from having too much pressure. So when we shut off the sprinkler, that will stop. So let's get the sprinkler back on. So now that we know we have no leaks, we can go ahead and turn this all the way. And we can shut this down. All right, the other thing I want to look at right now is I want to look at these valve boxes. I'm going to open them up and just take a quick peek and make sure that we do not have any like weird leaks coming out of these. There we go. All right, everything looks pretty dry here. So those 3 valves are good to go. And then let's check out this other one. If you guys remember in the spring, I actually had to rebuild this one because of some crushing that we ended up getting. So let's take a look here. And that right there, my friend, is my little friendly squirrels tearing up my yard. There we go. That looks pretty dry, so no leaks. All right, so now that I know that I have no leaks anywhere, I can go around and test all the zones, get them running, make sure we blow everything out, make sure we don't have any heads that were broken, or, you know, a lot of things happen in the winter whenever we get this freeze thaw cycle, because you could have water inside one of these valves, or you can have water inside one of the sprinkler heads, and if it's in there and it freezes, it's going to break it. So let's go ahead and run through, make sure all of our heads are good to go. Once you do that, we can get to our fertilizer. So let's test it out. And there it goes. We've got sprinklers running. Yeah, so I'm gonna let it run for just a couple minutes, and then I'm gonna go back over there to that backflow valve and make sure that we don't have any leaks anywhere. And but I think we're in pretty good shape. Water pressure looks good. Looks like everything is running as intended. Now that we've done our irrigation startup for the spring season, it's time to put down our first application of fertilizer. And this year, what I'm going to do is something that I did last year, which is to use this stress blend to start off my lawn. Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of grief for using this because I got a lot of grief last year for using it for me to start off my season. But the reason why I'm using this is because I don't necessarily want to sit there and pop a bunch of nitrogen into the lawn all at once. I do want to get that potassium, which is a really good number for overall plant growth. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and work with this product. And then we do have a little bit of nitrogen, which does help stimulate a little bit of that top growth, but I'm really concentrating on the overall plant growth, which is why I like this. So it's a 7-0-20, meaning that there's 7 for the nitrogen, 0 for phosphorus, and I'm pretty sure I need no phosphorus because in this part of the country, there's very little need for it. Potassium is one of those macronutrients that's just really good for overall plant growth. And so now that we're in the spring season, or we're starting the spring season, this is the perfect macronutrient to put in the lawn to make sure that we have that good overall plant growth. So that's why I'm using this. I know that the lawn isn't stressed. I know we're not at the end of summer. I know that that's not the reason why this product was developed, and that's okay. Like I said, this is what I did last year. It actually worked really well for me. And so I'm going to start this season off the exact same way. Now, I am going to come right behind this in a few weeks and put down a bunch of nitrogen, so stay tuned for that. But today, this is our first application because it just works well, and I think that it makes sense. So let's get it down. Alright folks, so that's pretty much all I've got for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. The big thing that we did today was we wanted to turn on our irrigation system. I waited this long to turn on because I wanted to make sure we didn't have any really big deep freezes. We'll probably have a couple more nights where the temperature goes below freezing for maybe an hour or two, and I'm not really worried about that. What I'm really worried about is when the temperature drops below freezing and it stays below freezing for a prolonged period of time, whether it's, you know, for half a day or even for a couple days. That's when we start having problems. But I think we're pretty much past that now that we're in March. I also wanted to have it turned on because of the fact that I want to get my first feed in, which is what we did today as well. The reason why I use that stress blend again is because of the high potassium. Potassium is great for overall plant development. We also have a little bit of nitrogen, which is good for the top growth, but I'm less worried about that right now, and I'll be coming in behind all of this in a few weeks with a higher dosage of nitrogen to get that top growth going. But I wanted to make sure that we started off with the overall plant development, and that's why we went with the stress blend. And as you guys know, I really like using my truck as a platform whenever I'm working on stuff. It's just kind of a good table. And for those of you that don't know, I just got a brand new truck. I got rid of my old truck. If If you want to see a description of that and a little review, I'll put a link up in the eye over here or wherever it goes for my personal channel where I actually did a review of it. So really love this truck. I'll be honest with you, I love this truck so much that I actually feel a little guilty about it, but it's been a lot of fun owning it, so go and check that out. Anyway, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop those in the comments down below, and I also have an email address in the description, so feel free to email me. With all that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like this video, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and if you want to be notified of future videos, don't forget to hit that bell, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a great week, everybody.
1 week later.
Look at how well this grass has recovered from that stress blend. Almost none of the burning on top. Still a little bit of discoloration in a couple of areas, but that's okay. I mean, I think it's looking really sweet. Got some rain coming, a little bit cooler temperatures tomorrow, but we should be in good shape. After that, it looks like we've got a warming trend after this last freeze this weekend, so let's hope this is it.